I always felt like a ghost in my own home. My name is Alana, I'm 38, and most of my life has been this way. We grew up in a quiet Seattle suburb. Our little craftsman house smelled of the nearby pine forest, but for me, it was never a real home. My parents, Justin and Elisa, were decent people, I guess. My dad was a mechanic. My mom worked part-time at the elementary school, and life went on. Until I turned 8, I was an only child, and everything was simple. My dad taught me how to skip stones at Serene Bay. My mom helped me with my math homework. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. Then Melissa arrived. 2 months early, a tiny bundle of tubes and wires. I can still see her minuscule face, like a porcelain doll in the hospital incubator. That night, my Aunt Jane woke me up at 2 in the morning, whispering for me to pack a bag because Mom was in the hospital. Everything changed. The house became a fortress to protect Melissa. The smell of bleach stung my nostrils, hand sanitizer was everywhere. If I even sneezed a little, I was whisked away to Grandma Nina's or Aunt Jane's house, as if my germs were a threat to Melissa's survival. At first, I even liked it. Grandma Nina's warm cookies, Aunt Jane's shelves full of mystery novels. But I soon realized the truth. I wasn't welcome. I was a risk. Grandma Nina's house became my safe haven. Her attic overflowed with treasures, antique paintings, chipped teacups, and a box of glittering old jewelry. I spent hours organizing her brooches, each one with a story from another time. Nina, a retired art teacher, would tell me about Art Nouveau arabesques or Victorian cameos, her eyes sparkling with pride. "You have an eye for beauty, Alana," she'd say. These moments kept me grounded, even as I felt invisible at home. Melissa was the sun. I was a shadow sent to keep her safe. That pain lingered, a silent sting that propelled me to carve my own path, one where I would never again feel ignored. In high school, I learned to embrace my invisibility. At home, Melissa absorbed all the attention. My mom scheduled her doctor's appointments. My dad cheered her on at mediocre soccer games. Me? I was the independent one, which, in truth, meant no one noticed me. So, I built my own world. My room, with its thrift store desk and lavender-scented candle, which Melissa swore she was allergic to, became my sanctuary. I dove into art history books, memorizing the curves of Art Deco brooches and the weight of real gold. School was my escape route. I joined every club that fit around my shifts at Bella's Diner. Debate team, newspaper editor, National Honor Society president. I color-coded my notes, planned my study sessions like a general plotting a battle. No one was watching me, so I could push myself as hard as I wanted. In debate, I found my passion. Dismantling arguments with a calm smile felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. I won state championships twice, but my parents were at Melissa's C-team soccer games. No surprise there. Bella, the diner owner, became my biggest cheerleader when my family wasn't. She slipped extra tips into my apron and saved pieces of pumpkin pie for me. "You're going places, Alana," she'd say, her voice steady, as if she knew something I didn't. Her belief propelled me. Every late-night study session, every award I hung on my wall instead of the fridge, was a step toward freedom. I wasn't just surviving. I was building a future where I'd never be overlooked again. In my junior year, I hit a milestone that changed everything. A perfect 1600 score on the SAT. I stared at the screen in the school library, my heart pounding, certain it was a mistake. Less than 1% of test takers achieve such a high score. I rushed home, bursting to share the news. My mom was helping Melissa with a school project. My dad was on the couch. "Mom, I got a perfect score on these I said, holding out the printout. She barely looked up. "That's nice, Alana, but Melissa has a test tomorrow." Melissa smirked. "Some of us actually need to study." I stood there, the printout wilting in my hand, and swore I would never need their validation again. I applied to 15 colleges in secret, writing essays about resilience and putting together financial aid forms with the help of my guidance counselor, Mr. Stone. Acceptances started rolling in. Stanford, Yale, University of Washington, all with scholarships. I chose UW, a full-ride scholarship that covered everything. The day I got the letter, I sat in the quiet corner of the library, looking out at the Seattle skyline, and cried, not from sadness, but from relief. I was getting out. When I told my parents at dinner, the response was predictable. Washington? It's so far, my mom fretted. What if Melissa needs you? Melissa asked. Can I have your room for my TikTok setup? I just nodded, already mentally packing my bags. That summer, I worked double shifts at Bella's, saving every cent Jane drove me to campus, handing me $500 from Nina's savings. She's so proud of you, she said. In my dorm room, that first night, looking at the bare walls, I swore I'd build a life so brilliant no one could ignore it. Not for revenge, but for the little girl who'd been sent away for sneezing. After graduating with honors from UW, I landed a job at a prestigious Seattle auction house, cataloging estate sales. It wasn't glamorous, logging dusty furniture and chipped porcelain, but it paid the bills and allowed me to touch history. My big break came with the Figuera estate, an elderly widow's collection that had been dismissed as costume jewelry. As I sifted through it, I found an Art Deco brooch that felt too heavy, its clasp too intricate to be fake. Grandma Nina's lessons kicked in. I spent my lunch breaks researching hallmarks, poring over antique databases after hours. Convinced it was a rare Cartier piece, I prepared a presentation for my boss, Ms. Green. My hand trembled as I showed her the proof. Maker's marks, historical records. Where did you learn this? She asked, eyebrows raised. Just research, I mumbled. The brooch sold for $47,000 at auction, a record for our branch. Miss Green started trusting me with bigger projects, and I dove deeper, taking online gemology courses and attending estate sales. Every discovery, every glint of forgotten gold, felt like proof that I was more than the invisible child my family saw. I was building something real, something of my own, and it lit a fire in me that no one could extinguish. Miss Green's words stuck with me. You're wasting your talent here, Alana. Start your own business. The idea terrified me. I had no capital, just a tiny apartment and an old Honda. But the spark was lit. I took the leap, emptying my savings, selling my car, and renting a cramped office above a Chinese restaurant in Seattle's International District. The place smelled of soy sauce and the Wi-Fi only worked in one corner. But it was mine. Those first few months were brutal. I woke up at 4 a.m., panicking about loan payments, working from a thrift store card table. But my contacts at the auction house paid off. I started authenticating for local dealers, undercutting bigger firms with meticulous work. 6 months in, a big break. A dealer asked me to verify a collection of Victorian brooches. I found 2 rare pieces, mislabeled as replicas, earning an $86,000 commission. Word spread. Collectors, estate lawyers, even my old auction house sent me work. By year 2, I hired a gemology grad with a quiet sparkle like my own. We moved into a sleek downtown office, bidding farewell to the Chinese restaurant smells. My company grew. Offices in Portland, San Francisco, a reputation for identifying hidden treasures. I was pulling in millions. But at home, I was still just Alana, the antique shop girl. Hiding my success felt like armor, protecting the life I'd built from the family who never saw me. My company was thriving, but Sunday dinners at my parents' house kept me trapped in the worst way. I'd fly in from San Francisco from client meetings, swap my tailored blazer for a Target sweater, and endure my mom's overcooked meatloaf while Melissa bragged about her latest marketing win, usually fetching the boss coffee. Still at that antique shop, Alana? She'd smirk, flashing a fake $200 watch, while I wore a vintage timepiece worth more than her car. No one noticed. I started sending $5,000 a month to my parents anonymously after Jane tipped me off about their financial struggles, Melissa's student loans, medical bills. They thought it was from relatives. Never suspected me. Melissa's Instagram exploded with designer clothes, Gucci bags, and tropical vacations, all on my dime. It hurt, but the irony was almost funny. I'd nod at dinner, playing the frugal daughter, while closing multi-million-dollar deals by morning. The secret was thrilling at first, like a game. Wearing a $3,000 cashmere sweater my mom called frumpy, or slipping a rare Tiffany brooch past Melissa's unobservant gaze. But it was exhausting too. I was living two lives, Alana, the magnate who commanded boardrooms, and Alana, the nobody, who faded into my family's blind spot. Each dinner chipped away at me. The weight of their disregard was heavier than ever. I wondered how long I could keep up the charade. The bigger my company grew, the harder it was to stay invisible. By year 5, we had offices in 3 cities, a team of experts, and a reputation for discretion that drew elite clients, collectors who wanted their treasures verified quietly. I bought a modest house in Queen and drove an unassuming Audi, and only splurged on my home office, top-of-the-line authentication tools, a safe Fort Knox would envy. Meanwhile, my family still saw me as the antique shop daughter. Sunday dinners became surreal. I'd spend mornings on calls with London dealers, afternoons verifying multi-million-dollar jewels, then drive to my parents for casserole and Melissa's stories about her big marketing job. "Alana, you should get a real career," my dad would say as I bit my tongue, fresh off a Forbes article about my company. Melissa's taunts, offering me her old jewelry for my shop, stung more now. I wasn't just hiding success, I was burying myself. When my mom mentioned selling the house to cover Melissa's MBA dreams, I upped my anonymous payments to $7,000 a month. They praised Melissa's initiative, assuming I was scrambling to help out. The disconnect burned me. I began to dread those dinners, each one a reminder of the child they'd send away. My therapist called it cognitive dissonance. I called it living a lie. Something had to give. I just didn't know it would be on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was my breaking point. My mom called 2 weeks prior, almost in tears, about her slip disc and being overwhelmed with cooking for 20. I was already fed up with her dry turkey and pitying glances. "I'll handle it," I said, hiring a high-end Seattle caterer I used for client events. "Alana, we can't afford that," my mom gasped. I saved up, I lied, ignoring her concern. The meal, maple glazed salmon, truffle mashed potatoes, cost more than their monthly bills. But I wanted one night where I wasn't invisible. On the morning of the holiday, I was buzzing, juggling caterers and an auction for a rare Art Nouveau necklace. The food impressed everyone, even Melissa, who mumbled, "Store-bought stuffing, mom's is better," before devouring the $1.50 plate Brussels sprouts. I slipped upstairs to my old room, still a time capsule of my high school years, unlike Melissa's suite, which had been renovated 3 times, to check the auction. My laptop hummed, tabs open to my company accounts, a $12.4 million balance gleaming. Melissa burst into the room, looking for a phone charger, and saw the screen. Her smirk froze. "Let's show everyone what Alana's really been up to," she scoffed, snatching my laptop. I chased her to the dining room, heart pounding as she spun the screen to 20 relatives, expecting to mock my little shop. The room fell silent. $12.4 million. $485,000 in pending contract. $4.2 million quarterly profit. Staring, Melissa staggered pale. "It can't be," she whispered. "Alana's rich." The air shifted, and I braced for the storm I always knew was coming. The dining room froze, forks suspended over mashed potatoes. My mom nervously laughed. Don't be silly, Melissa. Alana works at that little antique shop. I stood up, adjusting my $3,000 sweater, and let the truth tumble out. Actually, Mom, I own the leading jewelry authentication firm in the Northwest. Those antique shop taunts? I verify multi-million-dollar pieces. 3 offices. Millions in revenue. Silence. Then chaos. My mother's face flushed. You have millions and let us struggle, she shrieked, her chair toppling backward. Struggle? I shot back. I've sent you $7,000 a month for years. Melissa wailed. You hid it. I deserve to know. My dad joined in. We raised you, and you're selfish. Years of resentment exploded. Raised me? You sent me away for a cough. Missed every milestone because Melissa might feel left out. You funded her private schools, but left me to fend for myself. I built this life in spite of you. The caterers hovered awkwardly, serving dessert, while my mom screamed about family duty, my dad bellowed about ungrateful children, and Melissa demanded my net worth. I grabbed my laptop and her purse, my mom had called it a cute fake, and walked out. Behind me, they argued about how to spend my money. Melissa's MBA, a new SUV. Driving home in my BMW, tears stung my eyes. Not from sadness, but from rage and relief. I had spent years dimming my light for them. No more. My phone vibrated. Texts flooding the family chat. Melissa's Facebook post about my betrayal. I turned it off. The weight of my secret finally lifted. The days after Thanksgiving were a blur. My phone exploded. 42 missed calls, 180 messages. My mom's texts ranged from fury, "How dare you abandon us?" to manipulation, "Your sister deserves your help." Melissa's Facebook rants painted me as a greedy millionaire, hoarding wealth while my family suffered. Distant cousins and old classmates chimed in, judging my morals. Aunt Susan called about family duty. Uncle Bob emailed a lecture about sharing. Even a cousin's sister-in-law messaged me. I ignored all of them. On Monday, I found my mom, dad, and Melissa in my office lobby, demanding trust funds and a Florida beach house. "You owe us," Melissa said, clutching her fake designer bag. "Oh, I owe you?" I retorted. For ignoring me my entire life? I canceled the monthly transfers on the spot. My mother gasped. Melissa's tears dried quickly as security escorted them out. I added them to the building's no-entry list. The harassment continued. New numbers, fake emails, until my lawyer's cease and desist letter stopped them. My mom's last attempt was calling Nina, who reprimanded her. "Alana earned this. Be proud." 6 months later, I'm in a new house with top-notch security. My phone numbers have changed. My life is mine. My company is thriving. New clients came in after the drama, drawn to my discretion. Melissa is starting her own authentication business. Good luck with that. My mom and dad claim they never wanted my money, just my salvation. I'm done with their games. Nina is visiting soon, helping me catalog a new collection. Her pride is my anchor. For the first time, I'm free. No more hiding. No more Sunday dinners swallowing insults. My therapist calls it boundaries. I call it living the truth. Thank you for listening to Alana's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share to support us in bringing more inspiring stories, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new releases. See you in the next video.